Hey there, welcome back to our channel. So let's start with a couple of questions for you. One, do you set aside time each day to teach in small groups? And then two, if you do, how do you come up with those groups of students? Traditionally, kids have been grouped by reading level, right? But more recently, I've noticed that teachers are making the shift to strategy groups, which are organized by a specific reading strategy or a skill instead of reading level. So why might there be a switch happening? In today's episode, we'll examine both ways of grouping students by reading level or by strategy, and we'll talk about how to make the process of creating those groups easier on you as a teacher. Hey there, literacy lovers. I'm Taluka, your go-to guide for building a love of literacy in your classroom, one word at a time. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. So we all know that teaching reading in small groups is an effective way to help students improve their reading. The idea isn't new, and over the years there have been many educational companies building routines and programs for districts to help teachers implement small groups and centers in their classrooms. So why do we do this, and what are the benefits? Well, number one is you can give individualized attention to each student. When you have fewer students in front of you, it's easier to focus on one at a time, which helps you pick up on those individual needs better. The second benefit is differentiation, which goes hand in hand with reason number one. Since you're able to focus on those individual needs, then you can go ahead and target and address those needs in different ways, thus resulting in differentiation. Number three, the third benefit is collaboration, because students can work together in that small group setting to problem solve. They can talk about their ideas, they can give feedback to one another, and just overall it's a little bit more tight-knit and collaborative. So the fourth benefit is that there's better engagement because the kids are closer to you and there are fewer distractions. You're calling on the kids more frequently since they're right there. And since the group is smaller than the typical whole class setting, the kids might feel more comfortable asking you questions and actually participating, which can hopefully lead them to getting a better understanding of what you're actually teaching. And number five is efficiency. And I'm all about making things more efficient, so don't even ask my husband about the side eye that he gets whenever I see him washing the dishes for a literal hour in our kitchen. But I digress. Teaching in small groups can be more efficient than teaching in an entire class because you're in and out of there in about 15 to 30 minutes. You're providing targeted instruction, and this can help students make progress more quickly. So now let's talk about organizing these groups. The first way is grouping students by reading level. So this approach groups students together based on their current level with the goal of providing instruction that's appropriate for their current reading ability. One of the benefits of grouping students by reading level is that you're teaching within a text or using a text that students can for sure access. For example, if a group of students is reading at a lower level, you can provide instruction that focuses on foundational reading skills such as like phonemic awareness and decoding, and you can use decodable texts that they can actually access, right? However, even within that lower level, there are different needs amongst those students. And so this is why there are some downsides to grouping students just by their reading level. This approach assumes that all the students at that level have the same strengths and weaknesses when it comes to reading. And this is not always the case, and some students might be struggling with specific reading skills that aren't being addressed in their current group with you. Now, on the other hand, when students are grouped by skill, you can provide instruction that's specific to each group's needs. So for example, if a group of students is struggling with comprehension, you can provide instruction that focuses on specific comprehension strategies with them. But how do we figure out what each student's strengths and weaknesses are? In the past, when my school focused on grouping students by reading level, we had the students complete the SRI test on the computer and they were automatically leveled for us. It was easy peasy. But if you're grouping students by their level of need for specific skills, you'll have to give them some sort of diagnostic pre-assessment so you have some data coming in that you can use to make those groups. Now here's where I come in. I made this process a breeze, at least when it comes to comprehension strategies. So I made diagnostic comprehension assessments for each informational reading standard for 1st through 5th grade. They have passages that come in a variety of reading levels and a pre-assessment that assesses each reading strategy. So each passage is designed to focus on a specific strategy. So for example, I'll have a passage that is for the 0.9 standard, which is compare and contrast. Okay, so the whole passage is written in that text structure and designed for students to practice that specific reading skill or strategy. So let's take a look at how this example works. Before your next round of small groups, you would choose a passage that pertains to that reading strategy that you'll be teaching and have students read it by themselves, so completely independently. Don't read it to them. Then when they're done, have them answer the 3 tiered questions that are on the pre-assessment that matches the passage. Now, these 3 questions are tiered. As I said, they get more complex. So number 1 is going to be the easiest surface level question, still pertaining to that reading strategy. And then number 2 gets a little harder, number 3 is the hardest. Now, once you've collected the assessments from all of your students, you can quickly grade them and then start sorting them into piles based on what the students got right or wrong, okay? And then those piles translate to the extent of the support needed to learn the strategy. So for example, as you're going through your assessments, you can see, okay, this friend got number 1 right, but not number 2, not number 3 right. And so I'm going to put them in this pile. And then everyone else that had number 1 right, but not number 2 or 3, put them in that pile. And then you know that they've got the most basic understanding of that strategy, but you need to start practicing and working on that more with them. And on the other hand, the students that either got all 3 right or maybe got 1 and 2 right, but not 3, those students, you can start working in more complex text with them and even doing some enrichment. So incorporating regular assessment lets you monitor your students' progress and then adjust your teaching accordingly. After you've taught the strategy in your small groups for, say, a week, 2 weeks, whatever your certain amount of time is, you then go back, give that post-assessment, see how they've progressed, right? So if you'd like to try these in your class, you can find a link to them down in the description. To recap, it's important to make data-driven decisions when grouping our kids. Guided reading by reading level can be a good thing for some students, but it's not the best thing for all students. So next time you regroup your kids, try a strategy or a skill-based group and see what you can accomplish with them. Thanks for tuning in today. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more chats about literacy. If you've got any questions or comments at all, just feel free to drop them below and we'll get back to you. Until next time, take care.